Jacquelyn Marquez, Miss Teen Art Deco.
I'm Tyeshaa Hudson, Miss Art Deco.
I am Mariorl Calderon, Miss South Florida, USA.
And I'm Isabel Loggins, Miss Florida Keys, and this is Beauty Touches Group Productions Pageant Talk.
Woo! The most important part of this pageant process for me has been increasing my commitment. You know, I feel like having this title and being in this role, we get to do all these events, and sometimes it really conflicts with our schedules, you know, school, work, sleep, you know, that's important as well. But I really think that the most important part of this is just redefining my commitment and letting me know how committed I am and how much I do want this as my job. I love being able to wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning to go to a walk and then having to go to class after for the rest of the day, because this is what I love to do. So that's what's important to me. And also just recommitting myself to healthy lifestyle choices, eating more healthy every day, which is hard, but it just proves to me that I really do love this. And I feel like that's what is going to push me further.
For you.
Girl.
Yeah, I definitely had to give up my Fruity Pebble intake, but I feel like it's totally going to be worth it. And I completely changed my life just for pageants, simply because I just have so much passion for it. And even just driving to school in the morning, I listen to Miss USA soundtrack or working out to it, just because I want it so bad that I just dedicate my whole life to it. And even my parents have grown to just be pageant parents, and my boyfriend, a pageant boyfriend, and they're so supportive of everything I do now just surrounds Miss Florida.
And like she said, I've changed my entire life. Instead of on Sundays watching the game, I'd rather go on YouTube and look at a pageant. That's my game. Miss USA was the game. It was the Super Bowl for me.
It was.
It was amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
I think also something that she said that's important is the pageant queens who don't necessarily have those boyfriends or those pageant moms or pageant dads. Like, we have my sisters, because they, you know, take me through. So I think it's really important for those queens who may not have the biggest fan club to remember that, like me, I won with nobody in the audience, and at the end of the day, I have all of these people around me now. So never think that just because you don't have 37 people screaming your name, you're not a competitor and you're not, you know, fully valid in your pursuit for these titles.
That's amazing. And something else that she just said is that sometimes you don't have a huge support team. Thankfully, I do have a lot of people who support me, but at the same time, some of the people who support me might not even agree with what I'm doing. Like my dad, he doesn't see the value as much as I do in pageants, but seeing the awesome people who do compete in pageants, seeing the girls who win, seeing how great role models we are, and the quality of women that we are and that we grow to be, I know that could change anyone's perspective of what being in a pageant is, or whatever stereotypes that they might be about pageant girls. We could change them because we're such great role models for other people.
My story is way different than that.
So as a pageant, a queen, I guess, there's a lot of issues that can occur, such as people trying to dig up dirt, trying to gossip, trying to find something bad about you. Even if you don't have anything, they'll find a way to make you seem like you're a bad person. For example, I would write forum pieces for my school's paper, and somebody looked at my name. The worst thing that they could find were the stories that I had written, and they were very opinionated, and even though it was nothing bad, it was well researched, and I interviewed a lot of people, somebody went ahead and sent the stories to my director and told them that why would you want someone like her as a queen? And he simply said that this is America, we have that First Amendment right, and we could say whatever we like. And luckily I was defended, but it kind of brought me down for that moment. But then I realized that that is my job. I want to be a reporter, so things like that will just go hand in hand. And again, recently I had a story written about me, and somebody read it and then again called my director and said that I'm not qualified to compete for Miss Florida. A month before the pageant, you know, clearly I'm going to be qualified for Miss Florida, but somebody was just going to try to make something up just from nothing even, and it just taught me to have tougher skin, to not let anybody bring me down no matter what happens. Just because, you know, somebody said something doesn't mean it should ruin my day. I should just continue, be happy, and know who I am, and know and love myself enough to not have somebody else who doesn't love themselves as much to try to bring me down.
No, something that you really said was very good. It's, to love yourself more than whatever someone else is saying, to believe what you believe about yourself, and to do what you want to do, what makes you happy, and what gets you closer to where you want to be. Because at the end of the day, that person who's talking bad about you has to live with themselves, and we have to live with the decisions that we make to live a happier life, to get to where we want to be. So just as with any famous person, who I'm sure they have it much worse, there's people saying a lot of stuff about them, but we can't let anything that goes on around us or whatever people say affect how we view ourselves. Because at the end of the day, we know the truth about us. We know who we are and what we care about. And that's the most important.
It really is just another personal story, similar but quite different from my sister's. I also was kind of a victim to someone going through my Facebook years and years, almost 5 years ago, through pictures from almost the beginning of college, and I'm a graduate student now, so this is a very long time. And they sent the pictures, and at the end of the day, it didn't do me any harm because, of course, I'm pretty tame, but it's pretty hard when someone's there trying to take what you worked so hard for. So what I will say for all my queens on social media, be confident in what you post, because I'm pretty sure that as a queen, you know what is and is not appropriate, but also be confident to know that if you do post something and someone tries to dig up dirt on you, it's not going to work out, because, like they just said, self-love is the best love, and a lot of times people aren't as loving of themselves as we might be,
Yeah.
And that causes them to try to speculate and form opinions and try to change perspectives. But at the end of the day, if you have the right directors, if you have the right people on your team, they're gonna understand and they're not gonna read into it. At the end of the day, we're all young women living in a metropolis. We have to embrace our lifestyles. We all have fun and we all do things. Not saying we're going to be out there overboard, but we all do enjoy going out. We all do enjoy getting something nice to eat or enjoying it out in the town. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that is what is really the kicker. There's nothing wrong with having a good time as long as you do it the right way. And at the end of the day, haters are going to hate. And, self-love, like I said, is the best love.
And luckily, through my situation, I just found that I have such a great support team. Like, as soon as I told my director what happened, she was just like, haters, what you gonna do? And I am so grateful for something just so simple like that, because it just put my head back where I was supposed to be, and I was able to brush it off so fast, because it was just a story in my school's paper, but it meant so much to me, and it was so meaningful, and I feel so blessed that I got to be a part of that. And my pageant coach, he was crying because after reading the story, he's like, I did this for free and now there's a story and you said I'm like your pageant godfather. I'm like, yes, because you mean so much to me. Why wouldn't I mention you in the story? And so I was just able to be brought back to the whole point of it, and that was just to bring more awareness to pageants and share my story and share things about myself. And luckily I was able to get over this little hurdle, and now I can move on and be a stronger competitor with tougher skin.
Always remember, someone is always watching, even if it's years and years ago. So be prepared.
My thoughts on Miss USA this year. First, my top 3 contenders were actually the top 3. Not in the order that I thought they were going to be, but they were in the top 3. Pretty good for me. I am very happy with Tyeshaa, with the person who won Miss USA. Why? Because it really shows a whole different aspect of pageantry, and it shows that not only the pageant patties win, it shows that someone who has a very difficult career, who gives up their life and their dreams, puts all their aspirations towards fighting for our country, can also be a pageant queen. And I love that, because it shows a whole range of women who could also be pageant queens and who could support our sisterhood.
Definitely. I loved this year's Miss USA pageant, of course. It was so much, it was everything for me. I love getting to see the girls in the little shorts. I still want to jump in a pool in a gown. But I really just felt like I was able to meet every girl. Brie Gabrielle, we got to see her on her fishing show, which was awesome. We got to see boxers, and of course Tyeshaa, we got to see her in full, military garb. It was awesome. And I really appreciate that, because that's what I want to kind of bring to the Miss Florida stage. I want to bring who I am, and I feel like I have so many layers. And in the past, sometimes I feel like the layers of the girl, the depth of these women is kind of missed because, you know, you only get 30 seconds, if that, on stage for each category, and we oftentimes don't get to see the interviews. So I really love this pageant because I was able to, you know who these queens were and appreciate some of the reasons why they are in the position that they were in on that stage. This pageant, oh my gosh, my favorite part had to be evening gown. I think I just loved all of the trains and just the flowing. I think that was the trend this year, maybe. I really loved that part, and like I said, I really got to get a feel of the girls for who they are outside of, you know, full glam. It's a different person.
Yeah, like you said, what I really loved about this year is like what you said, we actually got to know the girls, especially with the new app, the Miss USA. I was able to watch it while on Outback. Amazing. I was watching it and I was enjoying it this year. I really loved the woman who won this year. She honestly is really close to my heart because my brother is also in the military, so I'm just really proud to see another one of the soldiers up there. So
I think what was so interesting for me was the questions that they had for the girls. It was definitely, some things were so difficult. I'm pretty sure politicians can't even answer them, can't even figure out how we can break the barrier between the poor and the rich. But I thought that was so cool because you can actually see whether these girls are not only beautiful but intelligent and are right in the head. But there were some controversial questions. There were some, definitely controversial questions, but I think that just kind of added to the pageantry, and it just made it a whole much more interesting show, and definitely really tested the girls on their knowledge of society now.
I wonder how you guys felt about that last little extra question, that new little thing they threw in there, you know, asking them, you know, why they wanted that position. You know, I don't think I've ever seen that before in the Miss USA pageant.
yeah,
They did. I've never seen it at a Miss USA pageant before, though.
No, and I had never seen it at Miss USA before this year.
Exactly. Yeah, and I really love that new part because it really just even more so let us know who the girl was. Gave us more time to hear her voice because we only heard about 30 seconds worth of each girl's voice at the very end. While that was a great time, it was in the midst of a very controversial set of questions. So, you know, to be able to get their opinion without the worry of offending someone or having to be overly judged, I really think that was a great additional part. Because it let them, you know, share who they were without
what they thought was confidently beautiful. And because of that, I feel like that just added some extra almost flavor onto their personalities because they got to answer the same question. It put them at the same level, and it really got to show how each one was thinking. Because being confidently beautiful, it's just not so simple as that. It's really so much more in depth, and I thought it was it was a simple question, but it was so great because you got to see how they dressed it up and what they really thought that meant to them. And that's just such a big part of Miss Universe, you know, are you confidently beautiful and what that means to you. So I thought that was fabulous.
And what I liked about it this year is that because they asked the same question like they do in Miss Universe, you can actually see how each girl would portray it in a different way. And it actually showed you their personality and how they would pertain or how they would act towards the same question, how they differ in the question. Because it's different when you ask different questions because anyone can have a different opinion and it's okay. But when you have the same question, you actually get to see the different personalities in person.
That's true. And something that, you know, you mentioned that about them answering a question without trying to offend someone. Well, at the end of the day, even if they're hard questions, if they're controversial questions, it's about what you think. They're not asking you particularly to know, you know, did you read the newspaper this past month? What they want to know is what type of woman you are, what you feel, how you can be impactful to our society, to our youth, to our older people. How can you make a difference? And that's what they're looking for. They're looking for you as a human being. They're not asking about anything else. I know that above everything, we're human beings. So if we do something that someone else might consider controversial, if we like particular subjects that other people think are not right or controversial, if we have choices and decisions that others don't agree with, we should be true to ourselves and to who we want to be, because that is the main part about being confident and beautiful. It's being sure of who you are and knowing what you want to do regardless of other people's opinions. Being sure about yourself and how you want to act. So it doesn't matter what you do, what choices you make. If you are right, if you really consider those are the right choices for you, then regardless of what anyone else thinks, you should do it, and that should not stop you from participating in pageantry.
I mean, as a student, I'm a mental health clinician. As a student, we have an array of subjects, and different, studies we can take up. And a lot of times they're rooted deeply in many controversial topics. Political science majors, journalism majors, mass media majors, even psychology majors like myself. Everything, honestly, in this world can have some controversy to it. And in this reality of pageantry, we are on a stage and we have to represent everyone equally. We can't take the left or the right side in all instances, but I do think it is important to have an opinion. I don't think that it's okay to skirt the line, but I do think that there is a special type of pageant girl sensitivity that is applied in all questions. You have to give your opinion, but you also have to validate the other side. And that's what I think some pageant girls miss the mark. I think that, there's this fear that if you say too much of an opinion, then you're going to turn off some half of the judges and then you may lose. But at the end of the day, they're putting us in this position because they want us to feel it, not everyone to feel it. They want our opinions, they want our personality, they want our perspective because that's valid. And at the end of the day, at least half of the population is going to agree with us. It's a 50-50 chance. But like I said, I think it's always important to confidently go in the direction of your dreams. If you want to be a mass media major or a poli-sci major or a mental health major, whatever your theory is and whatever your beliefs are, hold on to them strongly and be able to defend them because they will be challenged at every point of the road. At the end of the day, pageant girls have to, grow this set of tough skin as well as a sensitive side of their skin so that they can share their opinion, not be offended by others, but also, be inclusive to everybody. Systems. Every pageant queen has been asked, what's the difference between Miss USA and Miss America? And there's a huge difference. And now, I guess I'll just give you my opinion since I participated in both. I love Miss USA, of course. It's my new home. But for me, the real difference, we always hear the stereotypes. Miss America's for the smart girl. Miss USA is for the Victoria's Secret model. I don't think that's quite true, but I think there's a little truth to it. The Miss America system is based off of scholarships, so you have to be in school. It's like an obligatory thing. The Miss USA pageant is for the real girl, I think. It's for the diverse girl that we all are. It's if you're in school, if you're in the military, if you're a full-time worker. I feel like the USA pageant gives room for everybody. It's more open. I think that the Miss USA pageant is more inclusive, it's more ethnically diverse, it values a larger array of characteristics in the girl. It values dedication to healthy lifestyle choices just as much as a commitment to whatever form of educational attainment you think is valid. I think there's also a focus on having more fun, there's more media coverage, and I think that at the end of the day, we do have these platforms, and the vast amount of media coverage that the Miss USA pageant gets is perfect for that. And I think that's something that the Miss America organization lacks. And then also the fact that we are the gateway to Miss Universe. Like I said, more inclusive, more coverage, more room to promote this positive message that we have in the Miss USA pageant.
He said it all.
Yeah, we're done.